transportation issue. My name is Lucy Gilbert. I'd like to ask our school representatives that are present to stand and introduce themselves, if you would, please. Mr. Early's here.
Rick Early, Superintendent.
Lauren Morris, Senior Treasurer.
Is there anyone representing the school board here today? Any representatives from the levy committee? Okay, great, thank you. Mr. Hill, Stan Hill. And is there anyone representing from the town, village, or trustees?
Jackson Township.
Jackson Township here,
German Township.
and German Township,
And German Township.
and another from German Township. Thank you. That'd be great if anyone wants to direct anything specific to them. And it's great for them to be here to hear from the people that they represent. As for myself, I hold no official role. I'm simply a community member, just a resident here in the community. I was a student in these schools. I've substitute taught and volunteered in these schools. I've coached for 17 years, and my youngest son currently attends the primary school. And I'm actively involved in community and school events, which place me in these school buildings quite often. You may think it's a bit unusual for community members to be organizing school issues. So before we begin, I would like to give you a brief background on how we got to where we are today. And this gives the agenda for today. So how did we get here? So in '08, we were presented a bond issue at that time that was for one single campus, new construction. That was voted down. In 2015, the Valley View schools paid Fallon Research and Communications to conduct a district facilities survey. This was where 300 registered voters were randomly surveyed via telephone and asked a series of questions. One of those questions, if you don't mind, I look away from you so I can read this. One of these questions, do you think Valley View Local School District school buildings and classrooms are good facilities that need no major improvements, adequate facilities that need some updating but no rebuilding, poor facilities that need to be replaced? The majority response was adequate facilities that need some updating but no rebuilding. Another question, when specifically asked about each of the buildings individually and to consider if they should be replaced, renovated, or closed, the majority response was renovate. And that was for specifically asking about the primary, intermediate, junior high, and high school. Do you agree or disagree that it is a good idea to continue to spend money on repairs for most of the current buildings in order to preserve them and prolong their use? The majority answered agree, that to spend money on repairs for most of the current buildings. And in November, this past November 2016, we were again asked to vote on a building bond issue. This time it was for 3 new buildings. So this was the demolition of all of our current buildings, and instead of the one campus, now it was asking the question of 3 new buildings. We again turned that down. And on May 2nd, we are being asked to vote on this same bond issue again, the same one that we had in November. So I stay informed by attending both regular school board meetings and special board meetings. I contact the superintendent and school board members with any questions or concerns that I have. And over the past 5 months, since November, since that vote, my eyes have been open wide to what's going on within the school leadership. So the board has had the superintendent and treasurer work with the levy committee on the campaign. They direct the committee on what they are doing, including what is going out to the public. Community members have been asking for a community meeting since a February 27th school board meeting. Unfortunately, the desire to inform the community in a public setting and allow the public to speak and ask questions and have discussion has been opposed by some of our school leaders and levy committee members. The impact of this has been extreme divisiveness throughout the community between those in favor and those in opposition of this proposed plan, as well as an abundance of misinformation stemming from the absence of clear and plentiful communication of information. Heavy maintenance on our buildings has been deferred for some time, and it is agreed by all that we are past due for major improvements and updates to our school buildings, and it is a common goal of our community to begin the work and provide what is needed to accomplish this goal. The buildings belong to all of us. Our school buildings are significant community assets that should not be discarded without careful consideration and evaluation. The decision-making process of whether to remodel, to renovate, to replace should involve considerable public input as well as address community needs. And I'll just finish up with a recent sermon at the church I attend had a message that I related to the situation our community finds herself in. It spoke about how we get in our own way. We were made to think differently. We're not just going to line up and agree. Influence comes from talking to people to get your whys answered in discussion. We need to hear each other and sit down and say, help me understand this, help me get this. We need to truly listen to people with different opinions than ours and try to hear and share with others around us. And the message was clear that how we treat people along the way matters. So here we are. Here's our opportunity. We will hear a well-rounded discussion, presentation of facts, and then we'll have open discussion and questions. If you're not comfortable with taking a mic, there's be a wireless mic going around. If you're not comfortable at that time with speaking up, feel free. Use the cards and pen and paper, pens provided, and write down any questions, comments, and we'll gather those up and can read those for you. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Amy Vogel and Chad Gilbert, and Amy's going to start. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Like Lucy said, my name is Amy Vogel, and I have been a resident in the Valley View community for 16 years. I am in support of the schools, and I would like to help fund improvements that need to be made in those schools. Today we're going to present just some details in the current plan, maybe more information than what you might be getting on the Levy Committee's website, because let's be honest, some of you probably haven't read the assessment documents for each of the facilities. Maybe you're not familiar with the Ohio School Design Manual. You might not be familiar with the assessment costs and guidelines that the state uses. And you may not have experience in the engineering and architecture industry. The Ohio Facilities Construction Commission, or used by the acronym OFCC, is the same organization that you've probably heard before, the Ohio School Facilities Commission. They just renamed, and so sometimes you'll see that acronym OSFC or OFCC. But basically, the OFCC is a state organization, and it is their responsibility to guide capital projects for state agencies, for state universities, for community colleges, and for Ohio's K through 12 public schools. So that's why they're involved in this. The OFCC has an Ohio School Design Manual, and so when a school district uses OFCC funds, they, regardless of the project, whether it's a building, a rebuild, a new building, or renovating, they must follow that design manual, and that is different than just standard Ohio building codes. They use, because it's statewide, they use a one-size-fits-all approach. There is an assessment cost guideline, and even though they look at our buildings individually as separate buildings, their assessment kind of gets run through a boilerplate template for these costs and guidelines that they have. And I have I'm not going to show the actual document, but I have copies here. I believe Chad has copies also, so if you want to read it, it's out on their website as well. As far as our eligibility with the state, the levy committee has on their website, we are considered a lapsed district because the state has come to the district before in 2008 with its offer, and the bond issue was rejected. That caused the district to move to the bottom of the state's list. It goes on to say, since 2008, the state has offered other districts in Ohio funds to help construct new buildings. The state contacted the district in 2016 because the district eventually moved up on the state's list. The district can only secure the state's funds if it has a current offer on the table. If the bond issue does not pass on May 2nd, Valley View will move back down on the list. There are several of us that have contacted and been in correspondence with OFCC regarding the whole question of eligibility and when those funds become available. And so Rick Savers from OFCC responded in an email, Valley View lapsed an offer of funding made in 2007. That was the original time that the vote was March 2008. Under state law, they are eligible for state money as soon as they raise their local share. The expected costs will change, however, based on inflation factors, and there is usually a change in the local and state percentages, as these are based on the district's position in the state's eligibility list, which is updated every year by the Ohio Department of Education. Due to a number of factors, the Commission makes no guarantee on when funding will become available. By law, however, any lapsed district that has raised their local share has top priority for funding at the next distribution of funds by OFCC. If the district does not raise its local share within a 13-month period starting in July 2016, then another evaluation would have to be done. It is immaterial whether the project is new construction or renovation. And now you can go out, I don't have a slide for this, but you can go out to the OFCC website, and if you look under resources, there are the eligibility lists, and they have them there from 2007 to the current year, 2017. And I'm just going to read through where our ranking has been over the last 10 years. In 2007, we were ranked 252. 2008, we were 251. 2009, we were 263. And by the way, there are, in the 2017 list, there are 609 school districts across the state. So we're in the 200s, mid-200s. So in 2010, we were ranked 273. 2011, we were ranked 280. 2012, we were ranked 289. 2013, we were ranked 284. 2014, we were ranked 286. 2015, we were ranked 287. 2016, we were ranked 284. And then we are currently ranked 273 out of 600 plus school districts. So really, the thing that we need to keep in mind is that the eligibility lists are updated every year. Because we are a lapsed district, according to OFCC, we have top priority once we can acquire local funding. And over the last 10 years, our eligibility ranking really hasn't changed a whole lot. And if you look at those rankings, there's a lot of schools listed above us that have already completed projects. Okay, at this point, I'm going to hand things over to Chad so that he can go through a little bit more detail on the building assessments themselves.